Well, like so many people, I remember when I saw Star Wars for the first time at a movie theater on the west side of Manhattan.
Welcome back to Disney Marvels for a week of March 8th, 2020. This is episode 74. Disney Marvels, the show about Disney, Marvel, Lucasfilms, Muppets, Pixar, Fox, the parks, and much, much more. If it has to do with Disney, it's fair game. I'm your host, Matthew Graken. We'll be back right after these short messages. And now, on with the show.
We have a major news now from the business world. Bob Iger stepping down after 15 years as CEO of Disney. That is our parent company. He's taking on a new role in a legendary career that has shaped this company and the media landscape.
So just recently I just shared last episode how Bob Iger surprised many of us with his recent retirement. He effective immediately said he was stepping down as CEO of the Disney Corporation. And this is a happy time, a sad time, so many mixed emotions. And it was something that I could not handle. I could not take on such a subject of remembering Bob Iger's legacy alone. So I have Kyler Pope with me, and we are going to be discussing our dear friend, Bob Iger. Kyler, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on the show.
My pleasure. I got to be on your show. Now you get to be on my show. It's a wonderful world.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah. Well, when I was studying for this, I had the strong impression to start off with when Bob first became CEO. And one of the first major things he did was, kind of get the rights back to Oswald the Lucky Rabbit.
Yeah.
If you know what that is. And I'll do an episode on my show about that a little bit later called Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, Test of Time. But anyway, and that was because Bob was quoted saying that there was a little bit of an empty spot in Walt's heart after Oswald left. So, I mean, it's good that he brought him back. And the deal was, NBC's sportscaster Al Michaels got, traded to Universal's. And NBC sportscaster Al Michaels.
Now he's NBC sportscaster, yeah. He was with ABC for many, many years. Did a lot of stuff with the Olympics and different sports things with them. He's a legendary sportscaster, and it seems like such a weird trade.
Yeah, it was a legendary trade, and of course, all of us Disney fans are very happy that Oswald is back home.
Oh yes, indeed. I mean, it was quite the unbelievable trade to get giving up the man that coined the phrase, "Do you believe in miracles?"
Yes.
For a pen and ink, but it wasn't just any pen and ink. Like you said, it's something special to everybody. And Walt was devastated whenever, very maliciously, he lost the rights to Oswald. I mean, he wasn't. Everyone thinks of as Walt as just genius, as far as marketing and campaigning and business goes. Business genius, yes. And he wasn't. That was his brother. Walt was the creative one.
Yeah, Walt is a master. Well, not in sales or anything like that, but he's the mind that kind of shapes up all of our Disney characters, such as Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and many, many
Oh,
more.
absolutely.
So, and have anything you studied for the Bob Iger thing? Because I have a couple of more things to talk about, but
Yeah, I mean, he did a lot for the company. I want to say that his legacy will be remembered as years of growth for Disney. He really expanded the company. Um,
yeah. And especially because of the downfall that Michael Eisner had.
well, and that's
They
part of the timing of this whole thing was that he did not want to end up how Eisner ended up. I mean,
yeah,
Eisner did a lot for the company, and he really grew the company as well. Moving it forward from where it was in the 80s, where people were trying to hostily take over the company and rip it to shreds, to something much more substantial. He moved the parks forward. Controversially, he brought characters into Epcot. He expanded the characters. We had the new golden age of Disney animation under him.
yeah.
But then things started fading off, and the people that brought him in tried to get rid of him.
I gotta say that Michael Eisner, just to get on the topic for just a little bit,
Yeah.
I think his last thing that he really did good for the company was the acquisition of the Muppets, because that happened in 2004 before Bob Iger became CEO. That's I love the Muppets. So
Same here.
I mean,
And that was something that was in the work for years, and unfortunately, it wasn't the initial plan.
Jim passed
Right.
away.
With Jim's passing, it kind of threw a wrench into what the initial plan was. Jim was trying to sell the entire company to Disney, because he knew he was just getting to the point that it was just too much for him, and he was done. He was getting old. He wanted to kind of sit back and relax a little bit and let someone else take over the reins.
Yeah, he still wanted to work as like for Disney, but like he wanted his Muppets to get into a good hand,
Right.
such as Disney. But that didn't really take off until 2004. That's why I think that was his last achievement that was really groundbreaking.
Yes, that's something I was always happy with, to see the Muppets finally part of the Disney company. Which, I mean, I have my opinions on that currently. As happy as I am, I do have some dissatisfaction with it, but we'll stay positive on this. And yeah, I mean, 2006, which was just after Iger took over. Iger took over in 2005. Came over from the ABC. He almost lost his job whenever Eisner bought Cap City, the Cap City acquisition, and they, typically during an acquisition, okay, we got some redundancies and some extra positions. How can we have to reduce staff because you don't need 2 or 3 people doing the same job.
Like the recent acquisition of
Right.
Fox, where like a bunch of people had to be laid off because they needed to reduce staff because Disney was kind of getting in. I mean, I'm not a huge Simpsons fan, but
I like The Simpsons back when they came out in the 90s. I haven't stuck with them as much for 30 years. I mean, I enjoy The Simpsons. Can't say I've watched anything recently. But
yeah.
I still know who they are. I enjoy them. As amazing as that is, I always keep saying that my more shocking is that, okay, everyone's surprised The Simpsons are Disney. I'm more surprised that Family Guy is Disney.
Family Guy? What the
exactly.
heck? God.
Family Guy,
It's not
Dad,
supposed to be Disney. it's way worse than The Simpsons.
Exactly.
They should just cancel that show and just be gone.
It still shows up on Freeform at 2:00 in the morning.
Or at least just have it under the Touchstone Pictures.
Well, I'm sure they're trying to figure that all out. I mean, it's got an audience. It's it's got
like
a following, so
parents.
it's not something they're just going to get rid of right away.
Yeah, parents will be like, "Whoa, this is a really bad show for kids." So, at least it's not on Disney Plus.
No, not yet. No, that's probably going to stay on Hulu. That would be more of a Hulu thing. But yeah, so yeah, he almost lost his job because Iger just did not necessarily see a place for Bob, and he just kind of stayed under the radar for a little while, and then next thing you know, they make him COO of Disney. Michael Eisner gets his marching orders. He steps down, and Iger finds his way on top. I mean, it was just a very weird situation that happened to get him up there. He did a lot for ABC during his short tenure there. I mean, one of my favorite shows, he was very much a part of Home Improvement, which brought Tim Allen into Disney, which, I mean, you think of everything that he's done. Can you imagine?
The Santa Claus, Toy Story, and just
Buzz Lightyear is not Tim Allen, because Buzz Lightyear was not originally going to be Tim Allen.
It was going to be Billy Crystal.
Yeah.
But Billy Crystal turned it down, and then he ended up doing Mike Wazowski on Monsters, Inc.
Which I love him as Mike Wazowski. I was actually just watching Mike's new car before and just enjoying every little nuance and moment of that.
Yeah, and especially with the new Monsters at Work show that's coming.
Yeah, that should be fun. I mean, they're not going to be directly involved with that. They're just more background characters as far as Mike and Sully go.
Yeah,
because it's not about them, but they're still involved. Yeah.
But at least they're still like the voice actors in the show, because let's see, Timon and Pumbaa, for the Timon and Pumbaa show in the 1995. They changed the voice actors for that, and I really didn't like it because I like
Nathan Lane and Ernie Cimbello. Yeah. I love those guys.
Yeah, and
they're Jersey people, so that makes me even happier.
Yeah. And I mean, at least they're back.
Yeah.
For the show.
And that's something that I think Iger's been a little pickier about, is trying to keep some consistency.
The voice actor.
Yeah, some consistency with voice acting when possible. I mean, it's not always possible, but when possible, I've been noticing they're trying to stay a little more on top of that. Mandy Moore does the voice of Rapunzel for the Tangled series.
Yeah.
I mean, he tries to. I mean, I don't know how much is directly his influence on that, but I've noticed that since he's taken over, that's been more the case than not.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I mean, in 2006, he got Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. He negotiated Pixar from Apple.
Yeah.
For $7.4 billion.
And they
what was he thinking?
Yeah. But the thing is that they made buddy films before that. They still had Disney, Pixar, Toy Story, but Disney didn't own Pixar.
No, it was a distribution right, much like Fox and Lucasfilms with Star Wars.
Yeah, but then the Star Wars franchise had to go over to Disney because of the acquisition.
Yeah, well, that was 6 years later.
Yeah, I mean, what was your initial reaction when you first heard that Bob Iger was stepping down from CEO?
I could tell you exactly where I was. I was sitting at IHOP with my family, and we were having dinner, and this IHOP actually has TVs going, and they had MSNBC or one of those stations on, and the ticker at the bottom ran. It was the local channel, local news 12.
Yeah.
And across the bottom, wearing the ticker, Bob Iger stepping down immediately as Disney.
Yeah. But he's still gonna be executive chairman through 2021. You know where I was? I was listening to your episode, and that's literally where I first heard it. I'm like, what?
Yeah. I came home last night. I recorded that in the middle of the night as soon as I got home. Still didn't have my computer hooked up. I did it on my phone. Yeah, he's sticking around as executive executive chairman of creative processes.
Endeavors.
Yeah, so he's pretty much focusing ESPN, Disney Plus, some of his stuff that's close to his heart that he wants to finish up his little babies.
Yeah.
And then Chapek kind of run the rest there.
So, what do you know about Chapek? Because I have my own fair share about Chapek. Sorry, but
yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of funny. We're getting another Bob.
yeah, we have a bunch of Bobs with Bob Gurr, Bob Iger, Bob Gurr. Yeah, and then Bob Chapek, just a bunch of Bobs running the company.
Yeah, Chapek he was the guy who decided to kind of combine parks and retail and all of that type of stuff into one little harmonious thing. He was part of consumer. He was part of the consumer products end.
Yeah.
He started off over there. He actually started with the VHS stuff. He did a lot of your directed Disney videos.
Like the Disneyland Fun. Did he do that? Like the Disney sing-along songs or anything? I don't think he did. But...
No, that was well before his time because those are actually from the 80s. A lot of those.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, he he started in '93. He worked in Buena Vista Home Entertainment. And then in 2006, he was promoted to the president of the Worldwide Home Video arm. Until 2009, 2 years, he was the president of distribution for the studios.
Yeah.
And then
the Disney
bumped up to president of consumer products. 2011, 2015, he was named chairman of the Walt Disney Parks and Resorts. When he replaced Tom Staggs.
Yeah.
Who went to COO. And from that point in the company, in 2018, he reorganized the parks to Disney Consumer Products and Interactive Media.
Yeah.
When they got rid of a bunch of the interactive media stuff, which now changed it to Experience and Products. So all the retail, all the digital media stuff, and all the park stuff is kind of under one big umbrella there, that's quite a large umbrella. Disney used to have like so many small little segments, and you kind of got a lot of things lost in the giant kettle.
Yeah. Do you have hope in Bob Chapek just to run the company as maybe Bob or even Walt did?
I'm not. I don't hold them to the standard of their predecessor or predecessors.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that's fair, because everyone, he's his own person. So, for me to say that, is he going to be another Iger? No, he's not going to be another Iger. Is he going to be another Eisner? No, he's not going to be Eisner. He's not going to be Miller. He's not going to be Disney, because he's not them. He's his own person. He comes from his own experiences. He's worked his way up through the company.
Yeah.
I think he actually even started in the parks, from what I remember. And he
and I'm sure a bunch of people will be shocked when he steps down, and then another random guy.
Yeah, there'll be someone. I mean, you're talking about a company that's had 6 or 7 people running it in its you know, it's 50 plus years.
Yes.
90
About 100.
something years.
Almost 100.
Yeah. So he, that's a very short list. And
Yeah.
I mean, do I think he's going to do good? I think he'll do fine. I do.
Yeah.
Fine. He's going to have. I think he's going to run in a different direction. He's not going to. He's going to do some of the stuff that Iger did, and what he thinks Eisner and Iger and everybody did good. He'll try and keep going. Possibly, he's going to try and improve things where he thinks things need to get improved. Now, are they going to be the best things or best directions for way things should be improved? I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
time will tell. Time will
Time.
tell. It's one of those things that sometimes during an event, people are, oh, I can't believe this. Oh, why are they doing that? And then hindsight is 2020. We have a different way of looking at things in hindsight. And
Yeah.
then we go, we'll see things 10 years, 5 years after he's done, or at the time he decides to retire from that position and go, this man did this. He did this for the company. He did that for the company.
Yeah.
So
Like-
it's
Like, I'm sure a lot of you guys, as when Michael Eisner stepped down, same with me, thought that Iger wasn't gonna be like good enough, like for the standards that Eisner held up for quite some time, actually. So
yeah. I mean, when Iger took over, I was a little skeptical too, and wasn't sure how I felt about it. But at the same time, Eisner, I thought, had lost touch of kind of what was going on around him. He started playing things too safely and just he got kind of caught in a rut.
yeah,
He wasn't doing like too much new things. It was just kind of, I mean, like people keep on making, saying, oh, they're just doing another live action of an animated movie.
yeah, and trust me, I'm getting a little annoyed with those.
There's a reason. There is a very good reason for that, which I've talked about before, where a lot of the kids coming up don't respond to animation in the same way that generations before them have. And they respond better to live action. So, you already have the IP rights to these things, so why not reinvent them? Not in another animated way, but reinvent them in a live action. So you're changing the medium.
Yeah, and especially with the new Milan coming out.
Oh, I am so stoked for that one. Milan's one of my favorites.
But
I was actually working in Disney World whenever that movie came out initially, and I got to see it in the AMC theater in Florida, just a hop, skip, and a jump away from where majority of that was animated.
Yeah.
So that's I have a special affection for that movie.
But the thing is, no Mushu.
No, but there was no Mushu in the original poem. So Mushu. I mean, it's just like whenever they redid Winnie the Pooh, and there was no Gopher, because Gopher was a creation of Disney's products and imagination.
Yeah.
So it's am I shocked that there's no Mushu? Yeah, especially since at one point they were looking for someone to fill that spot. But I'm not going to hold that, I'm not going to let that ruin the film for me.
Yeah. I'm just excited to see the war. I mean, I'm not a big war guy, but I've seen the war before, and I'm excited how it's gonna turn out this month. So
yeah, I think it's all going to be fantastic. I have faith in Chapek. I mean, I'm not gonna expect huge things out of him. I'm not expecting negative things. I'm going to I'm giving him his own leash and just saying, okay, let's see what this guy can do for us. I mean, I'm not expecting any miracles in the next 12 months. I mean, it takes a while to get things going. It'll take years.
Yeah.
It was a year before Iger started all of his stuff, but that's an exception. That's an exception. Like I said, 2006 buying Pixar, 2009 is when he acquired Marvel, which that's one of my favorite acquisitions right there. 3 years later, he got Lucasfilms, and then 7 years later, right, 987 in 2019, finished the deal with Fox, which was a fluky deal as well. That just kind of happened.
Comcast was gonna buy Fox.
Comcast got involved because Disney was there. It was a chance meeting of Rupert Murdoch and Bob Iger, and just some words kind of briefly got exchanged, and then Murdoch reached out to Iger and said, "Hey, you know what? Would you guys be willing to take on the studio?" Things weren't going so good for Rupert Murdoch back then, and a lot of things were being said, and he was being accused of stuff.
Yeah.
So he was trying to separate himself from this company that he was involved in.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fluky, and then Comcast said, "Okay, wait a second. What if we offer you a bigger sum of money?" And they weren't in it for the same reason.
In it because they wanted to beat Disney.
Yeah, basically, they kind of saw an in and just wanted to kind of make a statement themselves.
I mean,
and just realize
that's what
all was involved.
That's what DreamWorks did. The president of DreamWorks, I think, made a lot. Well, the director, I don't know, made a lot of nods to the Disney movies. So it's basically like, here, Eisner, here's what I think about Disney. Shrek.
Well, basically, Shrek itself is an attack at a jab at Disney. I mean, Shrek the Ogre's, rumored to be a Michael Eisner, and kind of, here's this big ogreish guy in his little kingdom and just out of touch with things. Well, most of the people at DreamWorks particularly the beginning, were people that got away from Disney because they did not like how Eisner was running the company.
Yeah.
And again, that kind of started the downfall. They after The Lion King, and the animators thought, well, we should have made more money off of that personally, because that's our handiwork up there.
And movies started to get a little bit more darker, like Hunchback of Notre Dame, with the song Hellfire.
Hunchback, you could do a whole nother episode on Hunchback. Hunchback has a lot of things. So they changed that story up too, because it's supposed to be a lot darker than it actually was.
But they still have a song, which kind of creeps me out.
Yeah, well. I mean, if you read the original Victor Hugo, I mean, you get a lot of creepy stuff going on.
Yeah.
But so swinging back to Iger. So Iger, realizing some of these downfalls that was going on during Eisner's time, decided, okay, you know what, I'm going to kind of do things differently. And he grew the company. There's two ways to grow a company: organically or by acquisitions.
Yeah.
And there's only so much organic growth that a company that size can do in a quick period of time. And Iger realized that time wasn't always on his side. You don't always have 5-10 years to get something to grow and be a positive note. Like Disney Plus, everyone thinks, okay, they just came out with it in November, and they've been working on it for a year before that, and here you go. No, Iger actually been working on Disney Plus, or had the vision of Disney Plus almost from the beginning, because he started acquiring all these little media companies, especially digital stuff, from the get-go. And that all kind of folded into Disney Plus, what Disney made Disney Plus what it is now.
But do you know
So
what?
that's
Do you know what would be cool? If the vault was still around, but it would be like in digital form. Like they could take movies off for like a limited time. So on Disney Plus for a limited time, but they didn't do that. They just got rid of the vault altogether.
not so much. You'll be surprised. There will be times that things will be disappearing from Disney Plus for a little while, because things already are, and they will be gone for a bit, and then they'll come back. But
I
yes,
noticed
so
those that disappeared. Have you?
I know some stuff has. I can't remember off the top of my head
Oh,
what they've taken off, but they have taken some stuff off, and some things aren't yet to show up on there. That's because digital rights are still kind of all over the place.
yeah.
Um,
But they said Up would be on Disney Plus, and Up is on Disney Plus from day one.
yeah, up all 30 seasons of The Simpsons. Remember that stuff. But like the Home Alone movies, some of the Pirates movies, I think have been taken off. Holiday stuff. Shaggy Dog, Garfield 2, Strange Magic,
Yeah.
Sandlot. So some of that stuff, the Doolittle movies, have been taken off. Eventually, they'll come back.
Yeah,
but,
they're bound to come back.
Yeah, but you rotate things around, and that's how you keep things fresh. If someone's not watching something, why take up the space that you need on there?
Do you know what one of my favorite things Eisner kind of planned out? Mickey's 90th birthday. I mean, he kind of had to do something with that because
Iger.
Yeah, Iger, because it was such a big celebration. So that was a really good thing for me. I love Mickey Mouse, so.
Oh, same here. The Mickey's 90th I thought was very well done. Bring Mickey a lot more back into the forefront of things, especially with the new Mickey shorts that are going on.
And Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is now open at Disney. So.
Yes, that is fantastic. I have seen video online. Unfortunately, I haven't experienced myself, but I cannot wait to see that. Yeah. So I mean, this is the type of stuff that I think people need to look at Chapek for. That he did stuff like that. He finally gave Mickey his own ride. You know, we have this Star Wars Galaxy Edge stuff, and that was more Chapek than anybody else. So
yeah,
this is what I'm saying. Like I think Chapek will be beneficial to the company in one form or another. I mean, some other stuff. Speaking of the parks, Iger also expanded the Disney park system, opening up Hong Kong in 2005 and Shanghai in 2016.
Yeah, those were really big milestones because when did the first theme park outside of the United States open?
For Disneyland? That was I know this off the. Let me look it up because I should know this. But my mind, like Winnie the Pooh, my mind has gone fluffy or fuzzy. I actually had the DVD of it. The DVD of the opening ceremonies, which are nice. July 17th, 1955.
That was just Disneyland. Outside of
That was Disneyland itself. Walt Disney World didn't open up till 1971.
What was the first international park?
First international park was Tokyo. That was in the 80s. 81, 82.
Yeah, so I mean, they're starting to build the Disney parks.
83, April 15th, 83. Then you didn't have another one until Eisner opened Euro Disneyland in the 90s.
Euro Disneyland.
Yep, Euro Disneyland. That's now called Disneyland
Oh,
Paris.
I'm like,
Which that was something else that Iger did, was bought that back lock, stock, and barrel, because like Tokyo, it was something that they just had a financial stake in.
yeah,
It wasn't something that they owned outright.
yeah.
So, but yeah. So I mean, if you were to say what the one biggest thing that Iger did that you are happy with, what would you say?
The biggest thing was really Star Wars. I love Star Wars. So, I mean, some people are not happy the way it turned out, but I mean,
I remind them that Lucas gave us the three movies that between the originals and the Disney ones, the prequels. So I kind of leave it at that.
yeah, and I think one of the just to get back on Michael Eisner for a bit, one of the movies that he was involved in, not much, but I really like it, is Who Framed Roger Rabbit, because I mean, you had Roger in the parks and everything, and it's a really good movie, and I mean, I wish Iger brought him back, but
They've been trying to. But they realized to make a sequel to Roger would be astronomically expensive, and trying to get those rights to non-Disney
I mean,
characters.
I'd like to meet Roger Rabbit. I he was in
I
the
would
park.
love to. He is my favorite character. My favorite
Yeah.
character.
He was basically the kind of adult style Mickey Mouse. Like, I mean, not to kind of, but I mean, Mickey Mouse is now centered around like mascot. He's the mascot, so we had to get a little bit more soft. And Roger, under the Touchstone Pictures name, is kind of the adult style Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, he was actually going to be the mascot of the Hollywood, well, what's now the Hollywood Studios, back then the Disney MGM Studios. There was going to be a whole lot of sections to them. Originally, there was a store that had a bunch of Roger Rabbit stuff. It was a Roger Rabbit themed one, which that's not there anymore. It's the back end of Pixar Place. So they tore that down. But you would be able to find the dip truck and different things there. And a lot of Roger themed items, but yeah, that didn't last because the rights got a little murky between Disney owning him and then Amblin having the rights for a while. So it was just kind of it's kind of a rough setup.
Yeah.
That they had
And
with Roger.
I would have liked to see kind of a Roger Rabbit style sequel. And there was a script for that. And
there's been several. I think there is a book. They did make a follow-up book to Who Censored Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, and the thing is that
also the passing of Bob Costas. Bob Costas. Well,
Bob Iger.
No. No. Why can't I even remember his name?
Bob Chapek.
No. The actor from Roger Rabbit.
I cannot think of his name right now.
I love several of his movies too. Why? Told you my brain's going fuzzy. It's almost dinner time.
Yeah. I'm gonna search it up too.
There we go. Framed Roger Rabbit. Well, it's not Christopher Lloyd. He's still with us.
Yeah.
Starring Bob Hoskins. That's it. I knew it was a HOS. I was going to say Hodgkins. That's a disease. Bob Hoskins. We lost him, so that makes making the sequel also a little trickier. We lost him back in 2014.
Yeah. And another big thing, going back to the Shanghai Disneyland, it's closed because of the coronavirus.
Yeah, yeah. All the Asian parks are closed now because of it. They closed Tokyo, they closed Shanghai, and I believe they closed Hong Kong as well, which is understandable. They're doing their due diligence as much as people, everyone keeps knocking them on the financial end. But if they didn't do it, people would be yelling at them too. Why aren't you doing this? And they're just looking for money. Obviously, they're not looking for money because they're doing they're losing money.
I mean, they're giving the guests a favor to not catch the coronavirus at Disneyland. So that would be one of the worst places to get it.
Yeah. Why ruin someone's vacation?
Ruin, oh gosh, someone has the coronavirus, and now we have to go back home.
Yeah, exactly. So they're being good corporate citizens that way.
I like the Disney and Marvel acquisition, and I mean Warner Brothers owns DC, back in the 80s, I think, and they acquired DC back in the 80s, and now Disney has Marvel, which I think is way better than DC, but
I've always felt Marvel was better than DC, even when they weren't doing so good. I was so thrilled with that. I mean, it was something that Marvel needed to get with somebody, and I don't think there was a better fit than Disney, other than maybe like Paramount. But I think in the long run, Disney actually played out to be the better.
I don't think
bet.
Paramount would have worked out because, let's see, Paramount owns a bunch of stuff. Like, they would.
Well, Paramount's done the Transformer movies and the Mission Impossibles.
And one of the things that was really interesting to me, Fox is part of Blue Sky Studios, which
Blue Sky Studios owns Fox. Is owned by Fox.
Now Disney owns the rights to the Peanuts characters.
No, they do not. They only own the rights to that one movie. Apple actually currently owns the distribution rights for the Peanuts on the visual aspects. That's something that they picked up, which is part of the Apple Plus series. I thought the same thing too until I dug into it a little more and found out Apple acquired the creative rights to the Peanuts to make the Peanuts in Space series, which is available on their streaming service.
I was excited to see what Disney would have done with the Peanuts,
and that would be a funny story in itself.
Snoopy goes to Disney World or something like that.
Schultz himself actually wanted to be a Disney animator, and he was told that he was not good enough.
And here are the Peanuts characters, worldwide phenomenon. Everybody knows their names, and I mean,
who doesn't love
who
Snoopy?
doesn't? And I think that they could have had a bunch of things to work with, like the Peanuts gang to go to Disney World or anything like that. Like like they did with the Muppets. And I mean that would be kind of cool to see how the Peanuts characters would react to a Disney
Yeah,
theme park.
yeah, it would have been good. But
Yeah.
yeah. So
All
let
right.
me wrap this up because so in a nutshell, Iger's time for tenure as the head
Yeah.
of Disney. Would you say it was a good thing? You think a bad thing for the company? How would you post it? Because people are saying different things. Some people think he did a great job. Some people think he soiled the company. What would you
I
think?
mean, with the acquisition of Fox, I don't think they should have done that. I mean, but overall, I think that it it's it's been a good thing that Iger was part of the company for so long, and kind of fixed this downward spiral that um, Eisner was putting
Hmm.
the company into. And I mean, yeah, I think it's overall. I think it's good overall.
Yeah, I mean, during you're talking about what 15 years. Not everything's going to be a shining star, but overall, I think the company definitely grew in a very positive way during his time, and I'm happy to I'm I'm happy with what we got from him, and I think him leaving now
Is it
is
good? Yeah.
a good timing. Good timing. So I leave it to you, the listeners. What is your take on Iger? Let us know on the socials,
Facebook.
social media,
Yeah.
and yeah, Kyler, thank you for joining me on the show. Let my listeners know, where can they find you? Where can they hear your wonderful
My
show?
show is available on Anchor, of course, and we're working to put it on Apple Podcasts and all the other listening platforms. But currently you can either listen to me on Anchor or Spotify at the Disney Theme Park Show.
Yes, it definitely worth your time checking it out. Kyler hits on a lot of nice little topics. They're definitely fun shows. Like I said, I was honored to be a guest on it. So my suggestions: check out, after you listen to the show,
Yeah,
check out Kyler's show. And Kyler, again,
you
thank
are
you
so
very much.
welcome, and everybody have a magical day.
You have a magical day, and I'll see you next time.
Bye.
I'd like to thank my very special guest, Kyler, again, Kyler Pope. Again, check out his podcast. It's a lot of fun, and I always love to encourage young podcasters. But please join our conversation on Facebook, facebook.com/Disney Marvels Podcast, or our new Facebook group, the Disney Marvels Podcast. You can also meet us up on Twitter at Disney Marvels. You can also email the show with any answers or your suggestions to disneymarvels@gmail.com. Please let us know, what do you think Bob Iger's legacy? Do you think it's a good one? Do you think he did a lot of good for the company? Do you think he changed the company? If so, again, good ways, not so good ways, let us know. It's your opinion. Please, I want to hear it. You could also leave a voice message. I would love to hear some voice messages come through. I'll even put them in the show as long as they're appropriate. You can leave voice messages through the Anchor app or the Anchor website, which is anchor.fm. Find us there, and then find all these links in the show notes. I want to thank you for your time. I know how little time we all have nowadays with everything going on, how crazy the world is. And thank you for bearing with me as I had to take some time off because of craziness that was going on here. I just recently moved, so I'm in my new studio. I have things up and set up and finally going. The studio's not fully put together yet, but I dug the computer out, I woke the hamster up, and got things moving. And so hopefully get back to a normal recording schedule. But again, I had to take time out. I understand you know how your lives are. I'm no different. And the fact that you've spent some of that time with me, I really appreciate it. Every time that you download, every time you listen, it does not go unnoticed, and it really, I cannot express how much you've affected my life and how much this show means to me, and the fact that you're a part of it, and you guys really do make this show possible. So thank you. All I ask is if you could just, spread the word. Spread the word. Let other people know about the Disney Marvels podcast. Tell them out there that there's this show. And, the more people we have in this Disney family, the better it is. We'll always believe that. The bigger a family, the better. You can even do this if you don't want to tell people. Just go to iTunes. Go to iTunes, find the Disney Marvel podcast on there, and tell people, give it a rating. Throw up a quick 5-star rating. If you could type something up, that would be fantastic too. It really helps getting the word out about the show, and it really helps out. Don't forget to subscribe to the show actually while you're at it. This way you know when I finally get around to posting new episodes, they'll be where they are and that they're up. And if you just want to do a little something more, really help the show out, especially like movie reviews and whatnot, consider becoming a premium subscriber to help the show out. You can do this over at anchor.fm/DisneyMarvels/support, or you can find our Patreon page over on the Patreon website. Links are in the show notes. Remember, because this show is brought to you by listeners like you. Whatever you're facing out there, no matter how difficult, how impossible things are, whether, with everything that the news is talking about nowadays, with the coronavirus and everything, make sure you stay healthy, but make sure you keep yourself physically and mentally safe. They go hand in hand. And a lot of people are worried about the physical. People need to also worry about the mental as well. And your mental safeness is something that no doctor can really, give you a quick pill and fix. It's something that you need to just embrace and realize you are worth it. You are special. And you are appreciated, even if you don't feel like it. There is a light inside you that at times may seem very hard to find and very difficult to come upon, but it is there. Dig a little deeper. You will find it, embrace it, let that light shine, be your own hero, never give up, never give in. And you too will achieve greatness. I'd like to end this show with a quote from Walt Disney. When you're curious, you find lots of interesting things to do. And there's one thing it takes to accomplish something. It's courage. Thank you again for listening, and I'll see you next time.